Did you expect that you would be back here again after so many months?
I didn't expect that it would last this long. At the beginning, they told me that in 3 months I'd be running again in Tel Aviv. It's more like 2 years.
This is Aaron Bours. Last summer, he was busy getting married. But this summer, he's about to be readmitted to the hospital for the second time after suffering from a life-changing injury. In October of 2023, Aaron was drafted back into the Israeli army after Hamas terrorists infiltrated southern Israel and massacred hundreds of civilians. Within less than a week after the attack, the then 33-year-old reservist found himself fighting in northern Gaza when his combat unit came under fire by Hamas snipers hiding in a school.
Our job was to clear houses, look for tunnels, put pressure on Hamas to release the hostages. We had to cross in front of an UNRWA school. And within it, we didn't know, were Hamas terrorists waiting for us to cross. My officer was the first to go down, and he was in terrible shape. I made the split-second decision to sprint and try to get him out of there. The same sniper that shot him shot me in my right leg. Sure enough, they started to shoot all around me. I started to crawl. As I'm crawling, I get shot in my left leg by an AK-47. So I was bleeding profusely out of 4 places, and I'm very lucky to be alive.
Aaron's story is a tragic one, but it's sadly no longer unique. In Israel, tens of thousands of civilians and soldiers have been injured in the war since October 7th. This means there are thousands of Israelis who will be dealing with debilitating injuries for the rest of their lives, both physically and mentally.
That's a long.
Aaron, yeah.
Actually,
can I take a picture with you?
Pretty badass.
How long do you need to have that for?
2 weeks.
2 more weeks?
He is already with it 7 months.
Is that what you do? You scare everybody like that?
Yeah. It's not hurt. It's just heavy.
2 weeks and it's out?
Yeah. And he just will start with that.
Today, Aaron is showing me around Sheba Medical Center, where he lived for 5 months while undergoing multiple surgeries. He still comes back here 3 times a week for rehab, but he's preparing to be readmitted.
Aaron, I feel like I'm walking with a celebrity everywhere I go.
This is where I started physical therapy after the hospital. And this is actually when I thought that the bone was growing, because I was able to walk without a crutch. It turns out that's just muscle and a really, really strong piece of metal in my leg.
So if the bone doesn't grow?
So I'll be on crutches for life.
The bullet that hit Aaron's right leg destroyed 8 centimeters of his bone. Doctors thought it was beginning to grow back, but he's just been dealt with a devastating blow that he's going to have to go through another surgery to make that happen.
Like doing squats is difficult, and like balancing is difficult. And those are things that I have to rebuild in order to start walking again.
Some people look at this and are like, this literally looks like hell.
It's the same as so many other things in life. When you don't have it, all of a sudden you really want it. I think about now all the times I wanted to go for a run or to do more half marathons in Tel Aviv. And I'm like kicking myself. I should have done it then.
Since October 7th, over 17,000 civilians have been injured in the ensuing war. Close to 3,000 have dealt with moderate to serious injuries, and over 140 have died while being treated in the hospital. The numbers aren't far off when it comes to wounded soldiers. Over 4,300 soldiers have been physically wounded, along with thousands more who are suffering from mental health issues like post-traumatic stress disorder.
That's my prosthetic. I'm amputated about the knee.
Daniel Kopylov is just 20 years old. He loves hiking and spending time in nature, and he was recently drafted into the Israeli army, like almost all other 18-year-olds in Israel. He had just finished his commander's course when he was called to serve in Gaza, and on his first day there, his unit entered a booby-trapped building.
I was the first one to enter the building with my officer. Terrorists activated the booby trap from far. The building exploded. I just remember that my leg was cut off. 3 of my friends died, and I was basically unconscious for 2.5 days. I got my leg amputated. They took part of my stomach, and I got burned all over my hands, my face.
Daniel has been in treatment at Sheba Medical Center for 5 months now. His family has had to leave their home in northern Israel and move to the center near the hospital so that once he's released, he'll be able to continue going to rehab.
Do you feel like you're the same person as before?
Yes and no. I had plans after the army. I'm not able to do all the things that I want to do or for now.
Everything in your life basically changed.
A lot of my plans, they or canceled or I need to adapt them to my disability.
Daniel's hoping to be released from the hospital this month, but there are still hundreds of wounded Israelis being treated in hospitals across the country.
We are treating now roughly about 110 patients that was injured from this war. We treated something close to 600 patients in the rehab center. There are much more patients that was injured.
The sheer number of patients being treated has backed up Israel's healthcare and defense system enormously. While many are supposed to be receiving financial support from the government, getting it doesn't always come easy.
We have to wait quite a few weeks to see things reimbursed. Coming out of the hospital, going home, some people need chairs in the shower, some people need rails put into the bathroom. These are things that you open tickets for Ministry of Defense, and sometimes they do get backed up if people don't know how to push buttons the right way.
You give me a jab, you give me a cross. Yes. We started the whole process a long time ago. I was barely able to stand up, and now look at him, he's a beast.
Feel like you are defined by your injury?
I'm Aaron Bours and I have my own life, and my life has layers, but right now those layers are completely cut off. My life revolves around this injury right now. One day hopefully it'll be a scar and I'll be able to bring it up only when I want to, and people will only know I'm injured if I tell them, or people will only know I was injured if I decide to tell them. Can't wait for that.